A wrestler has a Twitter meltdown. Kenny Omega shoots on CM Punk. Did Triple H know about the WWE releases? And more. I'm Luke Owen and this is the WrestleTalk News.
Support WrestleTalk!
Get exclusive bonus videos over at patreon.com/WrestleTalk.
It is, of course, a big time for deciding. And there is one decision on the lips of everyone in the world right now. What should Mark Briscoe do about his nose hairs? The former Ring of Honor champion tweeted, "Big decision to make today. I got these white nose hairs coming in that kinda look like boogies. Do I pluck them boys or let them rock out with their out?" Let's hear it in the comments. What should Mark Briscoe do about his nose hairs? As a man who is approaching 40, I trim mine when needed, although perhaps they can now blend into my super sweet mustache and be hidden away. By the way, have you donated to our Movember Just Giving page to raise money for men's health? If you send in proof of your donation and a photo of your hairy upper lip, you'll be featured in a mustache break right here on the WrestleTalk News. The first one will be coming later this week. Well, I guess we should probably move on to the less serious news stories in the world of wrestling. And who remembers Brawl Out? For those of you who might be new around here, Brawl Out was an incident that took place following AEW's 2022 All Out pay-per-view. CM Punk, who moments beforehand had won the AEW World Championship, cut a scathing promo on All Elite Wrestling and the company's EVPs, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, at the event's press conference. Following that, he got into a backstage fight with said EVPs along with his trainer Ace Steel and his dog Larry. Kenny Omega, Matt and Nick Jackson and CM Punk were all suspended and stripped of their titles, and Ace Steel also found himself suspended along with Christopher Daniels, who was trying to break the fight up. It caused a rift in AEW and a series of events that would lead to Punk getting into another backstage scuffle the following year at All In, getting fired for that scuffle and going back to WWE, the company he'd spent the previous 10 years burying. Since Brawl Out, there have been several allusions to the event by all involved, including Punk, whether that be in promos, interviews, or spots in the ring. And now Kenny Omega has done a new one. After making his return to New Japan Pro Wrestling at Power Struggle, Omega did an angle with Bullet Club member and former Survival Series contestant Gabe Kidd. And now speaking with Tokyo Sports, Omega has compared Kidd to, yep, you guessed it. He said, "It's true that I'd gotten Gabe's name wrong in an interview before, and that was my fault. But then he suddenly pushed me and took a fighting stance. I immediately remembered the incident that happened in AEW. I won't say his name, but I thought that Gabe was unfit to be a professional, just like that guy." It's quite clear that Omega's feud with Kidd is riffing off his real-life heat with CM Punk, but what do you make of all of this? Let me know in the comments down below. Over to WWE now, and it was revealed last Friday that Baron Corbin, Tegan Nox, and Indy Hartwell's time in the company had come to an end. It's hard to find the right terminology in this situation. On Friday's breaking news video, where you definitely didn't see this glorious mustache before yesterday's big reveal, I said that Hartwell and Nox had been released, as that was the wording used by Fightful. However, they've since added in a Fightful Select post, "We were still working to find out if Tegan Nox and Indy Hartwell were released or had their contracts set to expire." Triple H has taken issue with the word release in the past, which is why Fightful have started to use the word departures. Corbin was far more cut and dry, as his contract was coming to an end and was informed that he would not be re-signed by the company. He has since replied to a comment on Instagram agreeing that WWE fumbled him. Fightful Select also reported that Corbin had filmed a promo video for Raw's debut on Netflix, a report that Corbin himself confirmed to be true. Indy Hartwell also wrestled on the episode of SmackDown that aired on the same day her time in WWE came to an end, as the episode had been taped the previous week. So the question from WWE fans has been, did Triple H know that these departures were going to happen? Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select writes, "I wasn't told if Triple H had a say directly, but 2 out of the 3 were people who weren't being used on TV at all. It's hard to believe that someone they had firm and big creative plans for would be let go if someone in control of creative wanted them to stay." However, SRS does add that Mustafa Ali was set to win the NXT North American Championship at No Mercy 2023, but was released 9 days before that show took place. As with any set of WWE departures, there are idiots on Twitter who create fake accounts to announce more people are being released or losing their jobs. When we've done live stream news videos in the past, we've seen firsthand people who think they're being funny trying to spread misinformation about other departures. But it's not just morons on Twitter. As SRS writes, there have been some wrestling outlets reporting that more WWE releases will be coming soon or early next year, or there will be another round of releases. This, according to Fightful Select, is completely bogus. He writes, "We've covered hundreds of releases, expirations, and departures since 2020, and at no point was another round ever indicated." There's been a lot of chatter this year about WWE introducing more titles to their roster of belts. The Saudi Arabia Crown Jewel Championship ended up not really being a title and is actually just a ring, and there have been reports that The Rock wants to defend his People's Championship at next year's WrestleMania. Those are just one-off titles though, but there have been reports that WWE are interested in bringing in a mid-card title for the women's division, much like they have done in NXT with the Women's North American Championship. But if you ask Damian Priest, he wants a different title in WWE. Priest, who won a #1 contenders match to face Gunther on this past Monday's Raw, spoke with Conversations with the Wrestling Classic about his idea that he would win the WWE Tag Team Championships with his Terra Twin partner, Rhea Ripley, saying, "For Rhea and me to win titles together, that would be huge, very meaningful. We've talked about it." Look, they didn't even book the really easy match of Rhea versus Dom. I don't think we'll be seeing Rhea Ripley win the WWE Tag Team Championships anytime soon, even after she returns. But thankfully for Priest, WWE does have a track record of mixed tag tournaments. Remember Mixed Match Challenge? Well, Priest certainly does, as he added in the interview at the very least they should bring back Mixed Match Challenge and create a title for it. Well, if you're going to have more intergender tag teams, you'll need more intergender groups, and it would appear that the main roster had recently got one called up. We just didn't know it. Lash legend and Jakara Jackson have been featured on both Raw and SmackDown over the last few weeks, getting involved with the Women's Tag Team Championships, the Powerbuff Girls, Damage Control, and Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. They even competed for the women's tag titles on a main roster pay-per-view. When talking about Legend and Jackson, wrestling media have been calling them NXT's Legend and Jackson, and it would appear that is incorrect, as they have been, reportedly, officially called up, and they've not been called up alone. Brian Alvarez on Wrestling Observer Radio said, "It's not official, but I know people there who believe that all of Meta 4 have been called up. This would mean that both Noam Dar and Aura Mensah have also been called up to the main roster, but have yet to be featured on TV." Now, personally, I would take this one with a pinch of salt. What you don't need a pinch of salt for, however, is a follow-up to a story that Ollie Davis covered on yesterday's WrestleTalk news. Allegedly, Jacob Fatu, shortly before making his WWE debut, couldn't attend a charity wrestling show and didn't pay back his appearance fee and travel costs of around $2,600. A Reddit user first brought this news back to light, and the charity themselves told Sports Illustrated that while Fatu did apologize for not attending the show, he had not paid back the $2,600. And now, in a new update from Fightful Select, this has all been sorted out. And actually, it turns out, it was sorted out months ago. They write, Fightful spoke to sources familiar with the situation that claimed that Fatu had rectified the issue months ago. When we reached out to Jake's Network of Hope, they confirmed that he actually made a full payment in June 2024 that they had overlooked. Overlooked, title of your next WWE developmental system. Speaking of WWE's developmental system, and it was revealed last week that WWE's developmental system, NXT, was set to get its own developmental system. No, not TNA, but WWE ID, a program that would tag independent wrestlers and put them on a path that would eventually lead them to WWE. The program was praised by some, but criticized by others, who likened it to WWE's systematic takeover of the British independent wrestling scene in 2017 through 2019. WWE ID has partnered with several wrestling schools, including Booker T's Reality of Wrestling, and their Twitter account has been teasing that the first ID would be revealed this weekend, reposting a Reality of Wrestling event poster with the caption, "Someone's been ID'd, be there this Sunday to find out who." So, who could it be? There's no beard there anymore. Well, the person in question may have let the cat out of the bag, as Zilla Fatu replied to the tweet with an emoji of putting pen to paper, which he then deleted. Fatu, there's no beard there. Now, where have I heard that name before? Ah yes, the previous story we just discussed. Zilla Fatu is the real-life brother of Jacob Fatu, which means he is part of the bloodline. There have been strong rumors and reports that WWE have had interest in bringing Zilla Fatu into the company. Or, maybe it could be Jake Hager. The former Jack Swagger signed with AEW in 2019, becoming part of Chris Jericho's Inner Circle and the Jericho Appreciation Society groups, plus he had that hat gimmick. It was reported that his contract was coming to an end in 2024, and Bodyslam reported when it came up that AEW and Hager mutually agreed to part ways. But perhaps the mutual agreement has come to an end, as Hager has taken to Twitter to post, "Do you want proof that Tony Khan is a communist and threatened me to be silent or else?" A lot of people then made fun of Jake Hager for alleging that billionaire Tony Khan could be a communist, to which he then went on a bit of a Twitter meltdown, posting, "Wrestling fans die, believe they're told is real, LMAO." And if that wasn't confusing enough, he then posted, "I love all the pro wrestling fans that think they're educated." Yes, he did use the wrong there in a tweet saying that wrestling fans are uneducated. Lastly, Hager's former manager in WWE, Dutch Mantell, has a GoFundMe page set up in his name to help him with his health costs. The page writes that Mantell, who featured in Wrestling Masterclass as a teacher, is currently at home recovering from a month-long stay in hospital, adding that he previously beaten sepsis twice and nearly died on both occasions. There's a link for his GoFundMe page which can be found in the video description down below. And while you're in the process of clicking links, why not check out our latest wrestling list, where Tempest looks at wrestlers that WWE tried to erase from their history books.